How can you consistently stay focused on your goals in this busy lifestyle of yours? Hi, I'm Marisa Santoro, and I help professionals own their value so they can consistently stand out and increase their impact and income in their careers. Today we're talking about a question that I'm often asked, which technically you might think I'm referring to as time management, but really it's energy management. When you can manage your energy, you can control your time. So I'm going to be sharing some gutsy strategies here that work. These are things that I have applied. A lot of them I still do apply, and we've also taught here at In Our Shoes. So one of the things that I want you to consider is being intentional with what you want to accomplish, whether it be the next day or even that week, right? And I know that there are times and periods when you know when your high peak periods are going to be, right? We work with a lot of people in finance who definitely know those quarterly and monthly closes, right? They know their heads down. So you sort of have an idea of when things are going to be taking a lot of your time. But if you plan the work to work the plan, so this could be on a Sunday night ideally, or even the day before, what are 3 things that you will focus on that next day, right? Now that's not to say that there are only 3 things, right? But just pick 3 things a day that you will focus on. Things that will move the needle in terms of the progress that you want to make. Now, what activities am I talking about? Well, there are essential activities that are not necessarily going to give you instant gratification. So be very aware of that. Sometimes people, focus on activities that allow them to check the box and to say they're done, right? So that they can move on to the next thing. And I totally get that too. But these activities are not necessarily things that you're going to finish the next day, but they are things that you have to focus on, right? So but just be aware of the things that you're choosing to do are too easily accomplished, right? We want to make sure that they are impactful activities. So as an example, maybe you're working on a project, and that project is definitely not going to be done where you're checking the box the next day, or even the day after that, or even the day after that. But there might be sections of that project that you can block off to focus on. Maybe you have to do some research. Maybe you have to get some input from other people in your function. Or maybe you just need to do some hardcore writing and just focus on the written word, right? You can compartmentalize and make any one of those one of your 3 things, right? So be aware of, what is really going to move the needle and not necessarily focus on things that would give that instant gratification. We hear it coming up a lot, so I want to make sure that I point that out. Now, another thing that I want you to consider is setting a strategic block once a week. This is a 2 to 3 hour block. That's right. I'm asking you to pretend that you are enrolled in a class, right? If you had a class, you were going for a degree, you would meet with your professor, maybe 2, and you would set aside that time. No one in your family, none of your friends are contacting you while you're in class, right? You're focused. The same applies to you. You communicate to everybody that you are not available, right? Maybe physically move to another space outside of your home or your office, and just set aside 2 to 3 hours to really focus on any of that, a bigger project that you might have, or maybe just your own you time. Right? Try to do that at least once a week, because that's really, really key to helping you sort of take a step back and just, heads down, really, really get focused on what it is that you want to move the needle on. Now, another thing that we don't often talk about is music. So a lot of times music can just propel us, right? There's certain types of music that definitely gets you in your mojo and sort of, has you take off and just really get going and sort of find your zen. And when you find your zen, right, through music or some other means, that's when you can actually accomplish more in a shorter time period. So perhaps, without music, when you're trudging along, it might take you 2 hours, but if you're listening to music and you're sort of, getting in a rhythm, then it might only take you, 30 or 45 minutes. Now, I can speak for myself, personally, classical music. It's like hands down my go-to. If I'm doing any serious writing, classical music will get me into that groove, right? I know a lot of people here at In Our Shoes, they use alpha frequency music, right? So it's not really music, but it's music possibly mixed with alpha frequency waves or just alpha frequency waves themselves, and there's something in there that clicks in their brain that just helps them stay completely focused. And once you're in there, right, it's like getting on the treadmill, right? You can't really get off. Now you're going and going and going, and it's a lot easier than when you're, sort of stuck staring at a blank page or not really sure what to focus on. So music is another accelerator when you're thinking about managing your energy, not your time. Now, another thing that I want to share is water. Right, you heard me right, water. So I want you to have a nice big, tall, maybe 20 ounces at least, of water next to you. Water, it's not often talked about. Water is a receptor for thoughts and intentions and desires. If you happen to, live any place where you actually have a water view, or maybe even before sitting down to do your work, you can visit an area where there's some water, a body of water, a lake, a river, an ocean. You could even look at, maybe some YouTube videos and watching the water, crash against the beach. Whatever really does it for you. The thought of water, and definitely drinking the water, most of our body's made out of water. It has been proven to be a receptor for our thoughts, our intentions, and our desires. And if you've never heard of him, Dr. Masaru Emoto wrote a book, several books, but one of the books that I love is called The Hidden Messages of Water. And through his research, he's passed now, but through his research, he has proven that water, right, the actual crystals of water change when they are around positive and negative energy, right? And so, you definitely want to stay positive when you're in focus mode, right, and working on the things that are priority for you. Well, water will help accelerate that because we're mostly made of water, but when you're drinking it and you're focused on it and you just have even a kickoff, maybe looking at it for, an image or something that makes you feel like you are in flow, then your time spent will be well spent because you will be in flow, right? And you'll get so much more done in a shorter period of time. All right, well, I hope this was helpful. Please reach out and let me know your thoughts, and I look forward to hearing from you. Bye now.